Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk Live, co-host and the former NFL quarterback. Give me the strategy last night you did not like.
Well, the strategy I did not like. Well, I think the 49ers pick at number 3 is probably the strategy I did not like. Okay, that'd be the first one.
Okay,
that just
but
jumps
let
to
me
my
start.
mind.
Let me start there because you're friends with Kyle Shanahan, right?
Right.
You've known him for 20 years.
20 years.
Okay.
Right.
And I thought you kept saying Mac Jones, and
Sure.
There has to be some kind of contact between you two. And then I realized that maybe you don't have a strong friendship with Kyle Shanahan anymore. I think that's really what it is. But they spent a lot to go up and get Trey Lance. And was Mac Jones' smokescreen all along?
Listen, I don't know that. I don't know. And again, I talked to my buddy Kyle Shanahan. We talk about a lot of football. As I've always explained to people, we don't get into the specifics of their football team. They don't. I don't. So I don't know. Now, I could just say this, like, I had conversations after the college year was over and everything like that. I know he viewed Mac Jones as a very big-time prospect, for sure. But no, I was going off of what I thought I knew of my friend and the kind of quarterback he likes. He's always waxed poetically about Drew Brees and Matt Ryan and those type of quarterbacks, to where I thought, all right, Mac Jones is Drew Brees to me coming out, and I thought that's where he would go. So maybe we're not as good of friends as I thought, or maybe I don't know him as well as I did. But no, I don't know if I ever would have traded up. I've said that from the start. I would have never traded up to 3 in this draft anyways, once I knew I wasn't going to get Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson. And I think that the number 3 pick in Trey Lance is very, very risky.
All right, if I said you could have Mac Jones, Justin Fields, or Trey Lance,
I'm taking Mac Jones. I'm definitely.
Did the Patriots get a steal?
Yes, I think so. I mean, you saw how Bill acted. I mean, they were on the clock for what, 7 seconds, and they turned it in. So they obviously, thought that he is a guy that really knows how to play the position and play it the way they want to. And really, again, in my heart of hearts, that's where, I got to see it to believe it or hear something. I really still think the 49ers traded up for Mac Jones originally. And somewhere in that process, it got changed. I think a lot of people in the NFL thought the Carolina Panthers and the New England Patriots were hot on Mac Jones. And I think that's why Shanahan moved up. I don't know that, but that's what I do believe in my heart of hearts. And as you could tell, I've been wrong on that before anyways.
The strategy you liked last night.
How could you not love the New York Giants and what they did, right? I think that's one, Dave Gettleman, he gets a lot of crap. I'm a Giants fan. But once you see, okay, Devontae Smith, who it sounds like they really had their eye on, he's gone, to trade down and get a first-round pick for next year, and then also get a guy who's a Tyreek Hill type of weapon in Kadarius Toney. So they kind of get a guy that they needed or wanted anyways, and yet they get a first-round pick out of it. It's hard for me not to like that move by the New York Giants.
Jimmy Garoppolo's future in San Francisco is what?
Over. They can say what they want, but so here's the other thing I don't know. This is where it's dicey with that pick, right? And I don't love the strategy. Well, Trey Lance, you've heard me say I don't love his throwing motion. I don't think he's the most natural thrower in the draft by any stretch of the imagination. I think his running is good, but I think it's overrated. Again, it's against 1AA people. It's not Lamar Jackson we're talking about, all right? So that's where I question it. He's never run a 2-minute drill in his college career. He's never really had a game where he had the pressure was on you to perform at a high level for them to win the game. And he didn't play football last year. You can't sit him out again another year behind Jimmy Garoppolo. At some point, the guy's got to play and throw footballs if you want to get him better at it. So I think ultimately they could say what they want, but Jimmy G, I would think, is on the trade block as soon as they feel like, okay, Trey Lance, he's comfortable here. He knows our offense, and that's maybe when you hear that talk.
But do you think the Niners start the season with Jimmy Garoppolo?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't think. I think to me there you're getting into risky territory once again. They got a good football team. So when are they going to make the change after they're 9-2? Or maybe in the playoffs, and like, what if they go to the NFC Championship game and they're like a 13-3 team, and now you got Jimmy Garoppolo as your starter all year? You traded all those picks to what? What are you going to do with Trey Lance now? So that's where I think you got to play him. He needs it. And the beauty of the pick, at least to say this, because I know I've said more negative than positive here, Shanahan is a genius in the run scheme. And now to have a quarterback like this go along with it, that's where I think there is beauty to the pick and could be really, really intriguing going forward.
Yeah, it gives him sort of that Lamar Jackson option. He's not
Right.
Lamar Jackson, but it does open things up a little bit more. The Bengals at 5, I thought the smart move was getting a tackle to protect your quarterback instead of a wide receiver for your quarterback, because your quarterback is not useful if he's on his back.
It's a tough one. Yeah.
I think Chase is wonderful,
right?
But I still have to protect my quarterback. And you saw the Kansas City Chiefs realize, as great as Mahomes is, if we don't protect him, then he becomes mortal.
Yeah, right. No, it was a tough decision for my money. I mean, Sewell is a special tackle. You're right. They haven't been good up front. They haven't opened up holes for Joe Mixon. They play in the AFC North that's got studs galore coming off the edge. So it makes sense, but I also understand the pick. Like you said, Chase is special. I mean, he was the best college wide receiver 2 years ago. It's hard for me to think, with the kind of athlete and specimen he is, that he wouldn't have still had that title if he had played this past year. So I think from that standpoint, there's a special connection with your quarterback. And, they're going the version of like, hey, we're going to get Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins and receivers first, and then they're going to try to fill in the offensive line, to your point. And there should be some really good ones there for them to take advantage of at the top of the second, even in the top of the third. The offensive line is a pretty deep position in this draft.
Did the Bears get a steal?
I don't know if they got a steal. I mean, it's got the potential to be a steal. Fields is dicey for me. I know I'm in the minority with that. I think I've told you a little bit. I have a little issue with how he does throw the ball. I think there's a little hitch in his giddy up. There's some mechanical things that really concern me that I'm not sold you can definitely fix. But his arm is powerful, and his running is special. There's no doubt he was the best running quarterback in this draft. He's Cam Newton, except I would say he's quicker than Cam Newton coming out of college and that stuff. So that's where, of course, they can maybe buy them some time, and you can use that aspect as he continues to get polished and better with some of the throwing aspects of his game.
Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk Live, co-host. What do you do if you're the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, the writing's on the wall, don't you think? I mean,
but who wrote it?
They did when they took Jordan Love. They wrote it on the wall. Now they're trying to cross it out with like some pencils and like be like, no, we didn't do it. It's not really real. And like they're trying to cover up for it. But for me, that's where it starts, and I think Rodgers will be back this year. But I think this is what I've been saying for the last 2 weeks. I think this is it, though. I don't think you'll ever see him in Green Bay after this season. There's issues there, and I do think the Broncos would be the team.
Why not just trade him now?
I don't know. You're right. I don't know. One, because the guy they drafted in the first round is not ready yet, so that's the first problem. And then two, he's still definitely one of the 3 best players in football, and Aaron Rodgers, and their team is good. So they're going to try to exhaust all options to try to save that, because they are in a Super Bowl window, but they've blown it a lot by not really supporting the guy to take advantage of that window opportunity.
I have no information on this, but I got the feeling, here's my theory, that Rodgers said to the Packers yesterday, hey, you jacked up my draft last year by taking Jordan Love. Didn't even give me a heads up. Now I'm going to jack up your draft day here, and now the game is on.
I mean, I don't like put that past him a little bit. I think the jumping off point, of course, was the 49ers calling Green Bay and taking one more shot and seeing if that can happen. There's no doubt. So I do think for the first time in his career, public perception is on his side a little bit here. Just because I think everybody recognizes how good he is. He's never really had those game-changing difference makers around him. The pressure's always been on him, and the Packers made this bet. So it's really just to be like, how serious is he going to go all in on this and really try to force Green Bay's hand? Is he willing to kind of put himself out there is going to be the big question for me.
Okay, where could you see him land?
Like the Broncos are the team, like I said, that I think make a lot of sense. You know, I had heard that they were kind of hot on him for maybe the idea of being the quarterback in 2022 before this whole conversation started anyways. And, you know, a lot like when Peyton Manning went to Denver, there's a lot of things here that are similar. Like, whoa, there's sneaky talent at that wide receiver position. They got studs there. They got a stud tight end. They've got their offensive line in order finally. And their defense with Vic Fangio and Von Miller and Chubb and, you know, now Patrick Surtain and Kyle Fuller and Ronald Darby. I mean, they're one of those teams that I do think could jump onto the scene this year if they get the right quarterback play where we go, whoa, they're more of a contender than I expected.
Give me the quarterback who will be taken tonight that will eventually be a starter.
I think that's Kellen Mond. I'd always have thought Kellen Mond had the ability to be a first-round quarterback. He's got everything you want. He's been playing pro football at Texas A&M the last few years, and what I mean that is playing in the pocket with pressure around him and having to throw into extremely tight windows and make high-level throws. He passes it with great grades all the time. Explosive arm, really good athlete, unbelievable technique. If he would just be a little bit more loose and play backyard football, Dan, he would have been a first-round pick. I mean, I don't doubt that, but I think he's the first quarterback.
Explain that. What do you mean? Like
he's a little robotic in the pocket. You know, Jimbo Fisher is very much like, no, you stand in the pocket and go 1, 2, 3. And there's plays where you watch and you go, wait, 1 and 2 aren't open and the pocket's kind of collapsing. You're too fast and athletic. Get out. Buy some time. You know, be a Zach Wilson or a Trevor Lawrence and get out and now try to find a throw down the field that way. That's like an area he needs to get better at. But that's one that doesn't concern me a whole lot. That's an easier fix to me than fixing Justin Fields' mechanical issues and things like that.
Give us some other names to keep an eye on tonight.
Well, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I think you start there.
I loved watching him. I saw a few games with him, and I thought he was an impactful player. I just don't know at that position. That's why he didn't get drafted in the first round.
I think so. Dan, I think your logic is right. I think he's kind of one of those hybrid guys where everybody's like, man, we like him, but is he going to be a safety or a linebacker? What exactly is he going to do? And I think that scares people. I think people are scared of that kind of formula. I think they've gotten back to like we don't love the Isaiah Simmons things all that much. We'd rather just get a guy that we know is really good at this one spot. But I think you look at him, De'Ami Brown from North Carolina to watch out for. I said Mond, Elijah Moore, the wide receiver from Ole Miss, Terrace Marshall Jr., the wide receiver for LSU. I think you see him go off here pretty good. Azeez Ojulari, the edge guy from Georgia. I think those are the few of the names that jump out to me that you see go off in the top 15, 20 picks of this round, Dan.
Well, thank you, bud. We'll be following you on Twitter. Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk Live co-host. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too, buddy.